Are you there? Hello. Well, hopefully we are live in my group this morning. Hopefully that has worked. I am definitely, we're having trouble streaming to Facebook. Oh my goodness. Facebook. Every week I spend the first couple of minutes on my live, action needed, close. Oh, for goodness sake. Right, let's go live on Instagram. Let's go live where we can go live without the tech failing. Hey, the joys, the joys, the joys. Right, good morning. How are you this morning? I hope you are well. I hope that you are enjoying the nicer weather because it's lovely and sunny. If you're watching in my group, let me know you can see this live. I'm just going to quickly check on my phone because I'm not entirely sure that the tech is working. Trying very hard to get a live to go into my group for the last few weeks and it just is not working. It's not working on my personal page this morning. Whatever it is with Facebook, I do not know. But anyway, the sun is shining. I've already been doing lots of things. So it looks like I am live in my group. That's good. I can see you on Facebook, Katie. That's good. Right. Okay. So this morning, I'm going to be talking to you about dealing with self-doubt and improving your self-worth. I get a lot of women talking to me about this all the time. How can you be so confident, Mandy? How do I stop comparing myself to others? And it all comes from a central point. It's an inside job. Self-worth is an inside job. So that's what we're going to talk about today. For those of you that don't know me, I am Mandy Nicholson and I am the Creative Genius Consultant. I'm an artist and an author and a creative retreat owner in Scotland. And I help creative women to launch, grow and scale their businesses and make more money. And one of the first things I do when people come to work with me is help them to see their worth and their value because you are worth so much. So as I said, self-worth is an inside job. Yeah. And self-doubt is a lack of confidence in yourself and your abilities. It's a mindset that holds you back from achieving all the things that you want to achieve in life, personally, or in your business. It's also a protection mechanism. By holding yourself back, you are not putting yourself at risk. So there is some sort of human nature stuff going on there as well that's trying to protect you from things that may feel uncomfortable or dangerous. So there are some signs that you're doubting yourself or that your self-worth is at risk. So things like you can't accept compliments from others and you can't give yourself credit. You constantly seek reassurance from people around you. Do you like this? What do you think of this? Your self-esteem is quite low and you feel like you are never good enough. These are indications that you are struggling with your self-worth and you are doubting yourself more than you should be. So that's kind of where I wanted to start today. And I want to give you some tips to help you to be able to deal with this and work on this self-doubt and work on your self-esteem, your self-worth, and see yourself as the amazing person that you actually are, because you are. And it could come from anywhere. Where does self-doubt come from? It comes from many different things. It could be narcissistic parents, narcissistic or aggressive teachers. I know that my daughter struggled from how strict her dance teacher was and how she critiqued absolutely everything, like a drill sergeant approach. Past experiences and failures. If you failed at something that made you feel really, really bad in your past, you can carry that with you through life, and it can affect everything that you do and everything that you want to do and hold you back from the success that you deserve. So it can come from anywhere. It can be inherited It's an inheritance you don't really want, isn't it? It's the mindset. So here's some tips that I think are my top 3 to be able to start to work on your self-worth and eradicating self-doubt. It will always be there to a certain extent. We're always, a little bit of self-criticism is not bad because it can motivate you, but a lot of self-criticism holds you back. So tip number 1 is to recognize and appreciate your strengths. So people struggle with this. If I ask you what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, you'll give me a long list of weaknesses, but you might struggle to give me your strengths. So what are your talents? What are you really good at? What are your abilities? What can you do that you know is great? You may be a fantastic artist, but you may be able to make the best chocolate brownies ever. What are your talents? And what are your abilities? What are you able to do that other people admire? And then that can be anything from running fast to crafting and creating things, to writing short stories, to the ability to even write an interesting paragraph. So what are your talents and abilities? I want you to sit and write them down. Write everything down that you are really good at, that people have acknowledged, that you can acknowledge as being great. And what are your unique qualities? What are your qualities? Think about the way you behave and your values. Are you extremely kind? Do you put others first? Have you got a great sense of humor? Yeah. Are you good at remembering and cracking jokes? I'm rubbish at remembering and cracking jokes. I always admire people that can tell a really good joke. Yeah, because I'm rubbish. I forget it halfway through. So these are admirable qualities in other people's that are, that I don't necessarily have. So what are your unique qualities that other people love about you? Yeah. And the most important thing when you're recognizing and appreciating your strengths is to not compare them to other people. If it's a strength for you, it's a strength for you. It's not in comparison to somebody else. And this is where self-worth is, eroded, where we start to compare the things that we know we're good at to what other people do. There'll always be somebody apparently better than you, and there'll always be somebody worse than you. You're always going to have somebody ahead of you and somebody behind you. What's the point of comparing? You are where you are with the talents and achievements that you have, and they're not comparable to anybody else. So this is a really good starting point to start that self-dialogue of talking to yourself. Your strengths are yours. They belong to you, and you don't compare them to anyone else. So that's my tip number 1, recognize and appreciate your strengths. My tip number 2 is to practice self-compassion. All right, this is important. You might think that's the same as recognize and appreciate your strengths, but it's not. It's different. Practicing self-compassion. I want you to treat yourself like you would treat your best friend in the world. I want you to speak to yourself like you would speak to your best friend. When the negative self-talk comes in, and this is one of the things in this tip, practicing self-compassion, I want you to challenge the negative self-talk by saying, if my best friend was talking to me right now and saying what I'm thinking about myself, about themselves, what advice would I give her or him? What advice would I give them? What would I say to them? And practicing self-compassion is allowing yourself to speak to yourself in that way. Now, this is a tip to practice. Practicing self-compassion is something that you need to do all the time. It's about being mindful and stopping yourself when that negative self-talk comes in. You know that people will never like this. I'm rubbish. Nobody will ever read it if I write a book. Nobody will buy my art. Nobody will buy this. Who will want to come and work with me? All of that stuff that goes on. if your best friend was saying that to you and you know their talents and skills, you can see them, what would you say to them? Okay, so that's tip number 2, practicing self-compassion. And tip number 3 is gratitude. And I want to add here for all 3 of them that one of the big things, and I want to talk to you about this, it's almost a tip, but it goes with all 3 of them, is forgiveness. I'm going to talk about gratitude first, and then I'm going to move on to forgiveness as a whole. So gratitude is about recognizing the good things that are already here in your life. So, and it has become a bit of a cliche in society, and it really shouldn't have, because people do not, in general, practice gratitude daily, right? Lots of people are talking about it because of The Secret, because of, the film, all of those things, and the book. Gratitude is so important. You might be skint, but if you have a home and you have food in your cupboards, there is a lot to be grateful for. If you have a business that's bringing in some money, there's a lot to be grateful for. If you have skills and talents and family that love you, there's a lot to be grateful for. So what I always say is gratitude is a daily practice, 10 minutes a day of thinking about the things that you already have that you are really grateful for. The people, the home, the income. Even if that income is benefit income, you are still grateful for being able to be supported whilst you work on building your independence. All of those things are really important. So I would suggest a daily gratitude practice, and it would be great to have a gratitude journal. You don't have to have a journal. You can get a piece of paper and you can write 3 things I'm grateful for today on a Post-it note, and build a weekly Post-it note board of things you're grateful for, and practice that gratitude every single day. So recognize and appreciate your strengths, practice self-compassion, and gratitude are my 3 key tips. And encapsulating all of them is forgiveness. And the forgiveness starts with forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself for the negative speak, forgiving yourself for past mistakes, forgiving yourself for maybe the way that you have treated people or you have been treated for people. When you can forgive yourself, your next job is to forgive everybody else. And I mean everybody else. Forgive the narcissistic parents. They were behaving in a way that they understand their world, the world view, that they were taught by their parents, that they were taught by the society that they were raised in. And holding on to anger doesn't serve you. You can cut them off if you don't have any contact with. I'm not saying go and make up with relationships that have not worked in your life. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying forgive them. Let them go about their lives, live in the way that they do, but forgive them for what they did to you so that you can move on. Anger keeps you from being successful. It holds you back. It doesn't affect anybody else. They don't care that you're angry at them. They don't care that you haven't forgiven them, and they don't care that you have forgiven them. This is about releasing yourself and chipping away all those things that impact your self-worth and impact the doubts that you have in life in general, because they all actually accumulate to cause those feelings of self-doubt, to cause those feelings where you don't value yourself. So forgiving other people and forgiving yourself, then recognizing your strengths, then practicing this self-compassion and practicing gratitude are basically the things that will help you build up yourself. You start to breathe bigger and put your chest out and feel more powerful in your day-to-day life when you can let go of all of the things that are dragging you down and embrace the things that will lift you up. You have so many gifts and talents. Start recognizing them. You have so many positive things in your life already. Start recognizing them. Give yourself 10 to 15 minutes a day to practice these things, and you will see a shift in how much you value yourself. Your self-worth will shift, and the doubts will reduce. They'll never go away. They will reduce. So hopefully that's given you a few things to think about today. I want you to go and do it. Go and have a look in the mirror. Stand in front of the mirror. I used to do this with Bob Proctor when I worked with him. Stand in front of the mirror and identify your strengths. Hi, Mandy. Good morning. Stand in front of the mirror. Say, you look great today, Mandy. Your hair looks fabulous. You are such an amazing artist. Give yourself those positives in front of the mirror. Talk to yourself and tell yourself how amazing you are. I know that's hard. I've had people do it here on retreats, and it's actually brought them to tears. It's that hard to do that and have that positive self-talk while you're looking at your reflection. It brings it to life a bit. But forgiveness, gratitude, practicing self-compassion, identifying your strengths. Off you go, get pen and paper, do it now. And I will see you in a week's time with whatever I decide to talk to you about next week that will help you in some way in your life or business to be the powerful creative entrepreneur that I know that you are. Have an awesome week. See you then.